Aloha! I'm Scott, the Astro Manager, and yes, this is my first video on this channel. It's not about astronomy or management, but fountain pens. Thought it'd be an easy way to break this in. I am working on some astronomy and management content, and that should be coming soon. But I really wanted to talk about this beautiful new pen that I got recently. So I'm not really big on unboxing videos, but I'm just really excited to get this. Pen Venture, Passion for Luxury. Let's see what I've got in here. One pen, and I asked Emmy to select a bottle of ink for me, so there's some ink in here as well. Let's see what we got. And I have a nice note. And Emmy's amazing handwriting. Just beautiful. I wish I could do that. This is a bit of a surprise. Colorverse ink. Crystal Planet. That's intriguing. 2 bottles of ink. Thank you, Emmy. I appreciate the extra. Astrophysics, Season 2. Who doesn't love pens and astrophysics, right? Says the Astro Manager. Okay, now the prime event. Oh my. That is a beautiful pen. There, now you can see it better. That is exactly what I expected. Beautiful. And the elastic 14 karat extra fine gold nib. This is the 2019 version of the Momento Grande. Captive converter. All ready to be loaded. Well. That's what I expected. That is a beautiful pen. Thank you, Emmy. Thank you, Mikkel. Thank you, Leonardo. I hope I'm pronouncing Mikkel's name right. This is it. This is the name that's impossibly long, and I'm not even sure the person who created the pen knows the full name. It's the Leonardo Officina Italiana Momento Grande 2019 Urushi exclusive limited edition for Pen Venture Aka-tamenuri by Tamenuri Studios. So in other words, this is a collaboration between Leonardo, who came up with made the pen, and Pen Venture orchestrated the whole thing, and Tamenuri Studios, Mikkel, who applied the Urushi. The logistics involved in producing this pen are pretty amazing. So the ebonite came from Japan to Italy, to Leonardo, where they made it into this pen. That blank pen was then sent to Emmy in Romania, who forwarded it to Mikkel in Poland, where he applied the Urushi. Went back to Romania, and then to Italy for final assembly, and then to Romania for sale. There were a total of 10 pens made, 1 artist proof, 2 have remained with Emmy at Pen Venture, so that leaves 7 that were sold. This is one of the 4 in Aka-tamenuri, I think. That's was available, and then 3 in the Midori Tamenuri. So I think that the really amazing thing about this pen is the urushi, and the more you look at it, the more that the Tamenuri urushi is supposed to be kind of like a lake, right? You're looking into layers where the top layer is thin, you see deeper, and then where it's a little bit thicker, you see the surface. And so you really, the more you look at this, the more sort of depth and character you see. It's an amazingly smooth, shiny, polished finish with just lots of character. And if you look sort of at the edges, which I'll try and show you later, you do see the top layer is a little bit thinner on purpose on the edges around here, and so you do see more of the color coming in there. I did get some information from Emmy and Mikhail on the actual process of the urushi itself, and it's quite complicated. Mikhail certainly is a craftsman, a master craftsman at this. There's a base layer that he applies to the ebonite, and that's layering several times, 3 or 4 coats, just rubbing in urushi and then wiping it off and then curing. The curing has to take place at a certain temperature and humidity, so he has special facilities for that. You can look at his YouTube channel, Tamenuri Studio, and get some examples. You can see he's got processes where he shows you how that happens. So he does that. Then he puts on the base layer, which is the pigment. That's 3 or 4 layers, and that's sanded, of course, multiple grits in between each layer. Then he puts on another similar 4 layers of the top urushi, mostly transparent, though it does have a tint to it as well. And then more sanding again between each layer. And each layer again is cured. Each layer has to be cured, and it can also be up to a day or more, as you can see in some of his videos. And then final polishing, which he actually does with the very fine grain polishing powder in his hands, and then does that final layer, and then a top layer of polish on top of that. So a lot of work into this, multiple layers. So there's a few base layers, then the 3 to 4 layers of pigment, 4 layers on the top, and then there's 5 top layers, and then 3 layers on top of that where he does the final top coat and polishing. So a lot of work went into that urushi finish itself. So unfortunately, you cannot get these pens anymore. They sold out within about 3 hours at Pen Venture site. So I'm really grateful to Emmy, Mikhail, and Leonardo for putting this together, and for Emmy for creating a way for me to get one of these in Hawaii. I might have been the first one to get their pen. Don't know. Everybody should have them now, and I hope they enjoy it. It's a beautiful pen, pleasure to write with. And I'll give you a little writing later, and I'll show you the differences between this and the other Leonardos. So here you can see the Momento Zero Grande Urushi, exclusive edition for Pen Venture, plus whatever word I missed out of that title. And let's budget some comparisons. This is the regular Momento Zero from Leonardo. This is the Flore Grande. This is a Momento Zero Grande. This is the Art Deco, also ebonite. This is probably the one that most closely compares. And this is the urushi, and for comparison, for those of you who don't have a Leonardo collection, here's a Platinum 3776. So looking at the 2 Leonardos, you can see the Momento Zero Grande, sorry. You can see they're the same clip. This is the rollerball clip, works well. No blind cap here. This one is also a capture converter. You have access to the blind cap here, which we don't in the urushi version. You can see this ring here. There's no rings on the cap and the urushi, and this ring is a little bit thicker than this base ring here. Similarly, in the section, I have a 14 karat gold medium in the Art Deco, and you can see the band there also. A little bit thicker on the urushi version. I want to give you just some better idea of the pen. See if this works. And I've got the 14 karat elastic extra fine nib here. So how about some writing? I asked Emmy to tune this for moderately wet. Looks like you did that quite well, and very smooth, and it certainly is. The elastic isn't supposed to be a flex nib per se, but with a little bit of pressure, and I'm not going to push it very far. Still a new pen for me. You do get some nice line variation if you want to add a little bit of character. So he writes row in reverse. And we really did do a good job of tuning. It does write nicely under its own weight. Could write something about dogs and foxes and all that, but I think you get the idea. Let's see. That was me. Writes quickly, writes well. Writes better than I do, put it that way. So thank you, Leonardo. Thank you, Emmy, for putting this all together. Thank you, Mikhail, for this really beautiful pen. See you next time with some more pen and astro management content. Thanks.